Show where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. And today we're jumping back into the Pacific with Gary Grigsby. We keep alternating from going from Russia, or the Soviet Union if you prefer, back to Australia and all around the world in 1941. And we, this week, have been going down the coast of Australia. We started in the west, we went to the north, now we're on the eastern coast. As you see, we're centered over Brisbane, and I do apologize, I am an hour late. If you did not see my War in the East stream yesterday, I said I'd probably be an hour, maybe 2 hours late. It ended up being an hour. Life stuff, you get it. Let's go look at Brisbane. That's where we're going to start today. I think we had already kind of covered Brisbane, but I just want to make sure that we've got everything, done there that we need to do. And then we'll go down to Sydney, and maybe around here, we'll spend a moment or two at Melbourne, and then jump out into the Pacific itself and check out Nomaya. We'll look at Suva, maybe New Zealand, maybe we'll get to the Kiwis before we resolve the turn. So what's going on here at Brisbane? Well, we've got some ASW, of course. Again, we're getting to the point where, why are we training? I guess we can keep training these guys. That's fine. They're running 40-20. This is 15 planes, and this is 3. So we've got Wirraways here that are running ASW, and then we've also got 3 Hudsons. That all looks fine. That's all good to me. We do have 2 ships in port. What do we have here? We have the Montoro. That's right, because we took one of the APs that we had here, and we're using it. We're sending it up to Townsville, I believe, to pick up something. And so that's going to get on its way. We still have the Montoro here. Oh, that reminds me. Yeah, we did look at this because we talked about the conversion we're doing here to the Nisqually. And the Nisqually is becoming a tender. You have a few ships that you could do that with, and we try to do it when we can here in Australia because Australia just has a real lack of that type of ship. You have plenty of AKE or AKs. You don't have nearly as many tenders. Hello, David. How are you? Good day, sir. So yeah, that's what we've got going on at Brisbane. We've got that conversion happening to the Nisqually, and then we've got the Montoro. We're going to let that sit here just in case we need it for something. I think this is the other AP that's identical to the Montoro, and that's the Mungana. And we are sending this up to Townsville. Okay, all of my remembrances are coming back. This is like a sci-fi movie where I start, seeing things, and oh yeah, we were in Brisbane before. AMC, okay, we looked at this. We decided to send this off to Afate, this one off to Suva. I say this one, this cargo task force. So we're all good here at Brisbane. So let's move on down the coast because we've got a lot of stuff to cover, really. What do we have going on at Newcastle? Well, that's a great question. What is happening in Newcastle? Newcastle, Australia, not England. Yeah, we had the mine symbol out here. So Newcastle, actually, we laid a bunch of mines here. You can see that little X up there says that we've got some mines here at Newcastle, 194 of them. Now, they will likely degrade because we do not have an ACM here that we need to tend the mines, but that's okay. Obviously, we're close enough to Sydney, and we have enough mine layers about that we could go lay some more if we want to. Newcastle has 100 light industry, not bad. 100 heavy industry, pretty good. 440 resources. So as you can see, it's a very resource and industry rich place. But no real reason to have much here. We've got the coastal defense, but right next door we have its big neighbor, Sydney, and let's dive into Sydney. Now, luckily, it's showing we only have 5 ships in port, so that's good. We don't have a lot just sitting around doing nothing, which is always a positive in this game, that's for sure. Let's see what is here. They're all APs. Okay. We've got the Murata, the Mildura. Now, you'll notice these have the exact same stats as those 2 transports we just had up in Brisbane. And so I think the 3150 cap, 1460 14,600 endurance and 13 speed, I think is identical to those. So that's kind of a common setup for some of these transports. But let's see if we have anything to do with them. I'm not really sure that we do. At some point, we might be smart to send those over to Los Angeles or San Francisco and have them start carrying stuff back across the Pacific. David says the bottom of the map is cut off. What's going on here? Let's. Oh, the industry tab. Okay, yeah, I can fix that right here. Give me just 1 second. Let's move it up and around. Hopefully, you have to tell me, but hopefully that's a little better. Oh, I see. I see now. Okay, there we go. Hopefully that's a little better. Let me know if it's not. Here, I can move it up on my screen a little bit there too. Okay, excellent. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you can't see the industry down there. It should be all showing up, or at least I see it all showing up correctly, but you'll have to tell me. David says okay now. Okay, glad to hear it. Thanks, David. Yes, the planes here at Sydney, what do we have? We have 17 Wirraways. So we've got a lot of Wirraways down here in southeastern Australia. They are currently training. Let's not do that. Let's do ASW patrol. And let's see what kind of setup we can get here. Now with 17 planes, we can run, a pretty decent swath. Let's see what 2060 shows us. We'll do this up at 50. 50's good, I think. Altitude 5, we'll get maximum. Yeah, okay, that's not going to work. that didn't look good. That's why you draw them on the map sometimes before you put them out there to the world. That looks crazy. How about this? That's a little better. We can still do a little more. Let's go straight 90 degrees and let's go 150. How about that one? Yeah, that makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? That looks good, and we get double coverage up here, so maybe we should even spread it out a little bit more. 160, 180. We're gonna go full. Oh, look at that. That looks perfect. That'll do. We will start getting Japanese sub activity here soon. Now, these Wirraways do not have much of a max, and if you're kind of new to the game or new to maybe didn't watch the tutorials or whatnot. When you're doing ASW, so we look here at the Wirraway, it's got a max radius of 6, well, I shouldn't say max, that's not the proper terminology. Maximum range really goes into how far it can go when it's just transferring bases, but for actually flying missions, its extended radius is 6. For ASW work, because it's more time intensive, you're really looking to see if you can see a submarine surfacing, it's cut in half. And so we're only going out here 3 hexes. We may be better off with the Wirraways, having them do naval search, which would go out the full 6 hexes. But for now, ASW is a lot more likely and a lot more helpful because the Japanese subs will start showing up off of Sydney in the not too distant future. Now we also have 12 more Wirraways here, and they are running ASW, and they're running 90 and 190. Okay, so we were already kind of running these missions. Why don't we then, now that I know that, actually run this 90 to 190, but we'll do the search instead of the ASW, and maybe I'll do 80 to 180. How about that? Like, sure, do it if that's what you want to do. We can do this faster by doing 30 at a time. There we go. 80 to 180, max range. There, now we've got a nice coverage, even double coverage. When it shows up black here, or it shows up white, that shows it's covering those twice. So that works. And we've got that ASW that we just looked at. That's the other Wirraways. And then we have these Seagull float planes that we're actually just training for ASW patrol. Only 4 of these, so we'll let them continue to train. That's fine. What do we have here for ground units? We have the Banks Fortress, which is coastal defense. We have the North Fortress, which is also coastal defense, so nice two big gun emplacements. We have an engineer unit, 5th Australian, which is showing Combat Sydney for the 8th, and Combat Sydney for the 14th. We had brigade, brigade, brigade. So we've got 3 brigades here. We also have the RAAF command, so the air headquarters for all of the Australian Air Force is here. That's nice. It's got quite a bit of support. We should maybe give this some torpedo ordnance. Let's give them 20 torpedoes and just see, you know, if some things need torpedoes. Again, if you're kind of new to the game, this is how they handle torpedo supply. It goes through your air headquarters. You may say, why does that make sense? Well, it doesn't necessarily. They're trying to model the fact that torpedoes were a lot less prevalent in the Pacific War than maybe you would think by watching a movie or something like that. There's just a lot fewer torpedoes out here, and so you have to load them into your air headquarters, and then they're the ones that pass it on to the planes for torpedo bombers. Now, for ships, that's handled separately, and that's just you have to get it to a port that has torpedoes. So that's how, you know, they're handled in 2 different ways. The game was done by 2 different sets of developers, and one did the air war and one did the naval war. And sometimes the 2 systems don't always match up completely. And so for air torpedoes anyway, we have to get them into the air headquarters before they can be loaded onto planes. Then we have here the Australia Command, the main command headquarters for all Australian units. You see it has a command radius of 9, although that's not going to do us a whole lot of good, right? Unless the Japanese attacks Sydney, Newcastle, maybe Brisbane, we would have to move that command headquarters up a little bit to get things in command. But here in the Pacific War, that's a lot less of a concern than it is in the East or other war games. I mean, really a lot of these units will not be in their top level of command, and even the layer underneath that, you just need to keep them sort of in local command, especially in places like China, where we need every advantage we can get. So not a lot of ground units here. We have 3 brigades, an engineer, 2 coastal units, an air headquarters, and the overall command headquarters. As you see down here, Sydney has a size 30 repair shipyard. I would have actually, you know, you would expect Sydney to maybe even have a bigger one than that. Some of the ones on the US West Coast, like San Francisco, I think is like 130, 150. So it's not a huge repair port, but it's better than you have in most of Australia. So if you need something repaired, Sydney's not a terrible place to go. We have aircraft assembly that's here. We don't often talk about the production down here, but you'll see if you want to dive into that, you'll see where things are produced around the map. Or, you know, we see here we've got 920 light industry. That's probably the 2nd or 3rd most in the game. We have a refinery, 500 heavy industry, which is also massive. A little bit of oil, a little bit of resources, and a lot of manpower. So really, though, here at Sydney, there's not a whole lot to do. We've got these 4 APs. I think we do have, this is another one of the conversions, the Lillian Luckenbach. We're taking from an AK to an AKE, so it can take ammunition, stuff like that. It's no longer just a generic cargo ship for supply. It actually can go along with invasion task forces and re-ammunition them. If that were a word, I don't believe it is, but maybe I've just coined it now. BritTorrent, hello, how are you? Will the Japanese AI attack Australia if you give them the chance? They will. They will, and I have seen it happen. Now, good human players, which of course is always the best way to play a game, really, I mean, should attack Australia. They should at least go after Townsville. And, you know, Horn Island, Moresby, Townsville. Now, as far as coming down and trying to do something with Brisbane or Sydney, that's a lot less important. But they should definitely be keeping a lot of pressure on Townsville and Darwin. And the Japanese AI will definitely come after Moresby and Darwin at the very least. And we'll see if they even try to go further. Or who knows? I mean, the way this game's going, the Japanese AI has been very timid so far. Now that can change. Their main task force may show up, right off of Java this time. I mean, we haven't spotted them. I don't expect that to happen, but it could happen. I mean, we're still only at December 18th, and so, by February or March, who knows where this game may be. In Sydney, we have this task force that's just sitting here. It's a Kiwi task force that could take, it's got two transports, pretty nice transports actually. Question whether these should maybe be going to LA. Maybe. We'll let them sit here for another turn or two. We've got the local mine sweep, and we've got this cargo task force that's just kind of sitting here, not really doing anything. When we go to New Zealand, I want to take a look and see what the supply situation is in New Zealand. We may have that cargo task force take some stuff out to Wellington or Auckland. We'll see. As you can see at Sydney, we have 135,000 in supply. Now, what is that all about? Well, all of the fuel that's coming into Australia is coming across these major rail lines and ending up in places like Sydney that just have massive amounts of industry, and that industry takes fuel plus resources and supply comes out the back end. Anyway, that is how supply is created in the game. It's fuel plus resources, and that's done at light industry and heavy industry. Well, Sydney's got a lot of it, and therefore it's taking any fuel that's sitting here or that it's funneling in and creating supply. And as you can see, Sydney could really supply most of Australia with what it's cranking out right now. But we will go down and look at, well, shoot, you know what? Let's look at Melbourne really fast. Canberra, Wagga Wagga. I just wanted to say Wagga Wagga. You know that. Canberra. They both just have engineers. That's fine. Let's jump really fast. What I was going to say is let's just jump to New Zealand, but let's check out Melbourne really quickly. And we also need to check out Adelaide really quickly to make sure there's nothing that needs to be shipped someplace else. And when I say shipped, that needs to be marched somewhere else or railroaded somewhere else, because it would be land units, ground units that we've moved to Adelaide. So Sail here has a unit. It's actually a pretty strong one. 70 assault strength here for the 15th Australian Brigade. We probably should move that somewhere else. I guess the idea is, at least Cole on his spreadsheet, what the idea would be here is if the Japanese were, able to get down here with an invasion task force, would they go straight at Melbourne? Well, no, that's not really the best way to do invasions in this game. You may go to Sail, take Sail, and now you've got a base, right? And you can bring supply into it, fuel into it, you can put planes there, whatever the case may be. So I think the idea is, leave a force, but that's a little more than a token force with a 70 assault strength. Now, Portsea also has a 69 assault strength here with the 10th Australian Brigade. Now let's look and see what we have here at Melbourne. All right, we've got coastal artillery. We've got some engineers. We've got a 61 assault strength, the 3rd Motor Brigade. All right, and we've got a 65 assault strength with the 4th Australian Brigade. So that's interesting. This may just be Cole trying not to be gamey with it, because, ultimately, the Aussies were going to leave a decent sized force around Melbourne, right? It didn't have to be in Melbourne. And so he's leaving a really nice sized brigade here at Portsea and a nice one here at Sail. I think we'll just leave that alone. We're doing fine. If for some reason we think that we really need an Australian brigade somewhere, let's just keep in mind that there's a couple down here that are not needed for garrison requirements in the southern tip of Australia. So we'll just kind of keep that in mind. Now we have 2 level bomber groups. This one's training ASW. It's at a 50. This one's actually doing ASW. Okay, it's doing it sort of over the strait. Before we forget, so what's the coordinates on this one? 140 to 180. It's only 6. Okay, why don't we do this other one? We'll take it off train. We'll have it do ASW patrol, and let's do 180 to, this is 12 planes actually. So maybe we'll double up a little bit. Let's do 160 to like 220. Max range, ASW. Let's have this do 50. Let's see what we got there. Is this even worth it? Not really. That's okay. 180 to 240. We'll get it right out over the strait there. Okay, so if some Japanese sub decides to wander down here, maybe we'll spot it. Oh, thanks, Arthur. I appreciate it. War in the East. What a game, what a game. I'm going to stream that right after this. So I'm going to do this Pacific video. You know, we always resolve the turns on Sunday. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to jump right back into War in the East as we continue trying to beat our March 25th deadline. I'm not sure if I'm going to get there. Now, I'm going to be on vacation this week. I will still be putting up videos, but I'm not sure that I'm going to actually be live streaming them. We'll see. We'll see. I'll let you guys know. But there may be some pre-recording this week, unless you guys want me to have a margarita in my hand as we float over the Pacific here. We'll see. Anyway, okay, so we have these 2 squads of level bombers. They're running ASW. We already went through the ground units. We have 3 ships in port. What are they? Well, let's show the active ships. There we go. Little bitty AKLs here, the worst sort of cargo ship that you have in the game. 4,000 endurance, 1,000 cap, and 10 speed. It doesn't get, you know, more generic than that. But let's make sure Tasmania is in supply. I usually just use these to run down to Tasmania. Do we have... we don't have much supply here at Burnie, although this is dropping off some supply. So we've already got, we've already got a CS, continuous supply to Burnie. Do we have one at Launceston? I guess we don't. Why don't we run a couple of these AKL ships down to Launceston? Is that the right way to say it? Probably not. Launceston? Launceston? That's probably how you say it. That sounds sort of British. Launceston. I like it. We'll take 2 of these. Okay, let's take 2 of these, and we'll have them do the fuel. So cargo done. We'll say fuel. And really, we could run these into Burnie as well because it will spread out over the surrounding area. But let's just have them go to Launceston. We'll load fuel. We will set our destination. Make sure they're not going to refuel out there. No refuel. Let's do that continuously. Okay, we'll get Tasmania all fueled up, and then we'll also get some cargo down there. So let's do. I always say cargo. I mean supply. When I say cargo, I really mean supply. Done. Cargo. Launceston, and we'll dock it, load supplies, and we'll go to Launceston, and then we'll turn off fuel, and we'll go continuous supply. Okay, there we go. Now we've got Tasmania is going to get all fueled and supplied up. There's a lot of fuel in Hobart. Okay. Did not know that. We also have a size 32 assault strength 12th Australian Brigade is down here. All right, well, I guess if Tasmania comes under attack, that could be interesting. Here's another one, size 33. This is the 22nd Motor Battalion. I guess they could just go motoring around Tasmania on there's a major highway. They could probably just fly down this like it's the Autobahn. Sounds fun. What do we have here? Base force. And then this is that task force that's unloading currently at Burnie. Okay, so, you know, Tasmania is good. If you guys were worried about Tasmania, it is now well supplied and well fueled. Let's jump up here to Adelaide. Now, we do have this one just kind of back and forth. I think that's ASW. It could be a minesweeper. I guess it's going back and forth, or maybe I could look. Here's two more of those little kind of nothing cargoes. This is what's going back and forth, the Mulcra. It's a cargo to Kingscote. It's on continuous. Perfect. Let's make sure Kingscote, the folks out here are got plenty of supply. Now they've got no fuel, but they don't need any fuel, so that's fine. What else is happening in Adelaide? It looks like we got most everything out of here. We're going to leave the 2/8 Armored Regiment here. We've ticketed it for Adelaide. We're just going to combat that, make sure it's flipped over. We've got some engineers for Adelaide here, and a Largs for, I thought that said large, and I was like, yeah, I guess it is, but it's actually Largs Fortress, a coastal defense unit. Brett Torrent, I don't know if you mean that halfway sarcastically, but my pronunciations, if that's your favorite part of the stream, I've done something terribly wrong, sir. It's fun to grope about in the dark for pronunciations that I have no idea how, I've never heard at first blush. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm kind of making up my own world as we go along here. Places you've never heard of, and for good reason. They don't exist. David says that's Launceston. Launceston, yeah, that does sound very British. Launceston. Okay. Thanks, Arthur. I have improvement, right? That's all you can ask for out of a guy is improvement. America does have a lot of little weird pronunciations, and English is obviously incredibly complex language. I always really admire anyone. My wife and I talk about that sometimes. You know, there's the obvious ones, right? Like two, and two, but you just have words that mean two or three different things. See, I just used two again. That use, you know, have two or three different meanings with just slight, you know, the way you maybe emphasize one syllable of them, whatnot. It must just be an absolute nightmare to try to learn English. And maybe I haven't completely yet, at least not the Queen's English. I can tell you that. Mine is a Midwestern American style of English. Kansas, Arkansas, too completely. It is too completely. I know, different pronunciations. Very strange language. Now, I saw a graph the other day talking about similarities between languages and the families. And because I am interested in linguistics to some degree, if you've never read an author by the name of Bill Bryson, he's a linguist who wrote one of my favorite books of all time, which is it's a little bit about everything, I think it's called, or get to know a little bit about everything. And basically Bill Bryson, so the point of the story is he's a linguist, and I like a lot of his stuff. And he's was talking about how German and English are in the same family. They're the two most related languages, because out of the European languages, I mean, they're not Romance, you know, what we call Romance languages. I'm not sure if you call them that in Europe, but in America, you know, we call French, Spanish, Italian the Romance languages, and all in one family. But I didn't realize that English and German were so close together family-wise. But anyway, I digress, as I sometimes do. Deadmosh, welcome. How you doing? Please do not fill up the entire chat. Well, okay, now I want to know what you got to say. You mean German is not romantic? Depends what you're into, I guess. But the Germans, it does. I guess the German language certainly doesn't sound romantic. It, anyway, I could go down some roads here. YouTube might ban me. Okay, back into Adelaide. I don't think there's anything else to do at Adelaide. What else do we have here? 220 light industry, 40 heavy industry, and 60 resources. So there is stuff going on at Adelaide, but it's not really militarily or strategically important. Now, we talked about Seduna. Now you guys have got me questioning every pronunciation I make. You've got me talking, I'm like, is that Kaduna? No, it's probably Seduna. What little I know of English. Seduna to Esperance. This is your hop from east to west to the extent you need it. All right, we covered Tasmania, so let's go out here to Lord Howe Island. I do know how to pronounce Lord Howe, I believe. We've got a task force unloading here. It's unloading some supply out at Lord Howe. 550 still on the ship. Okay, Lord Howe, we maybe want to get some fuel out here, and we should have a base force. Where is the base force that's supposed to be here? This gives me a chance to say Launceston again. I know I got that right that time. God, that just felt right coming off the tongue. Launceston. Is this? Yes, this is it. This is a transport ship. It's the Queenstown. Now, if I want to sound British, I'd probably say Queenston, right? But my American will say Queenstown. Queenstown base force is headed out to Lord Howe to set up shop there. We'll probably eventually put some more stuff down there, but let's get the base force out there first. Now, we also have one coming to Norfolk, I do believe, and I don't see it, but I think it's coming out here. I'm almost certain there's one. Well, I want to cover other stuff. I'm not going to sit around here and look for Norfolk Island's base force. But I'm certain we gave the order for something to come out here. What's this French ship doing? The Taruna. Oh, now this is the one coming out of Launceston? Well, then what? Is that the one I just looked at? Now, see, you guys got me all discombobulated. How about that for an English word? We've got a destroyer, the Voyager, 2 tankers. Okay, so we've got tanker Nomaya. Oh, these are the tankers we're sending from Sydney up to Nomaya, but we've got them coming down here and around as their waypoints. Let's make sure that, yeah, we've got this as continuous supply. We do have the same route return. Good. Okay, that all looks good. And then this is going where? That's going to Christmas Island. And it's got a home port of LA, right? So these were all at Sydney. We filled them up. We're going to have them drop off this supply at Christmas Island and then go on to LA and make that its home port for good. We should have some more things going to LA here. I won't go into those this time because I do want to get down here and give the Kiwis a little love. That didn't come out quite the way I wanted it to. Otaga Rifles Regiment Armored Unit is down here at Invercargill. Invercargill. All right, I'm just going to call it that. We've got that down here, Dunedin. We've got some industry. We don't really, we've got a coastal force here, a base force here. That's really all you need. Christchurch, Wellington, Auckland. Those are the main things you have operating out here in New Zealand. There is Christchurch. Let's see. We got some Americans, got some Yanks down here dropping off some stuff. No, that's an Australian task force. My bad. Little AKLs, and they are dropping off supply. Looks like Christchurch is getting all filled up here. Supply and fuel. We've got a lot of infantry here at Christchurch, but it looks like we want it all to be there. And so Christchurch has an assault strength of 135. Hell, it's almost got as much assault strength as Moresby. Lot of Kiwi units down here. Oh, hey, Deadmosh. Yeah, I know. I should maybe rein in that chat bot a little bit. Um, yes, it's very hard to keep track of everything and then strategize, right? I know you spend so much time saying, where am I going to send this fuel or supply that sometimes you forget what the big picture. This is as big as it gets, Brit Torrent, indeed. Um, and War in the East is a good place to start because this just has so many more moving parts. I know a lot of people think War in the East is the most complex game ever made, and we've talked about this on the stream before, but it's not close to what you have going on out here. And so Christchurch is supposed to have all of these units. So all right, I guess they're worried about a Japanese invasion. We have a base force here at Nelson. We have a motorized unit of some sort out here at Blenheim. Armored unit. Okay, that's all supposed to be here. Hold on. I haven't been looking to see if any of these were in move mode. Let's go back to Christchurch for just a second. Combat. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Combat. I think eventually these are all connected. I'm going to flip through these one more time. Sorry. These are all connected to New Zealand Command. So let's take, what's the strong? Oh gosh, these are all like 8 assault strength. I guess I was giving them a little too much. Let's look at this. The 12th New Zealand Brigade. What would it cost to buy this out? Jiminy Christmas. 367. Yeah, I don't think we'll be doing that anytime soon. Okay, I was just curious. Now, what do we have here at Wellington? We've got some level bombers. They're training naval search. They're at 50. We should really take them off training. Oh, wow, they have an extended radius of 14. Okay, let's just do some naval search with these guys for fun. Let's get them out of training. 50. Now, I got to think about my coordinates. Right, so we kind of want them to go this way. So let's say 270 to... How many points are there? 9. Let's do 270 to 360. For that, we'll go backwards. And then we can just do, well, I guess 360 is 0, right? Let's see what that looks like. Hey, that's not bad for my first try. I want it to be a little more, a little closer to Auckland. So we'll actually move this over. Maybe we'll do like 290 to 10, 20. How about 20? See what that looks like. That looks pretty damn good, if you ask me. Kind of impressed with myself. Give myself a pat on the back for that nice looking arc we just built. Then we have some Vincent 1s. Look at that old plane, old biplane. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with this plane. Is that torpedo that it's got on the bottom there, or is that part of the... It looks like a torpedo, does it not? I'm not going to get lost on that. I was just kind of curious. Let's do ASW patrol, maybe? No. It's got too short of a range. Doesn't... Well, that's what we've been training it to do. Okay, let's do ASW patrol with this. Get off training. Let's go 50. We got to set the maximum range and get it out there all of 2 hexes. Hey, someone just followed. I heard it. Did you guys see the Frankenstein thing running around? That thing always kind of creeps me out. Let's do 300. Whoops. 3. There's only 6 planes, right? 300 to 0. What is that? Look at that. Look at this little range. We got them. We got them right where we want them. Okay. Whatever. I mean, they were just sitting here training anyway. 320 to 0. 3. How about 340 to 10? I'm just kind of making things. Now that's got some double coverage, but that doesn't look great. And that that's what it's all about. How good does your arc look there? Why does it keep doing? Get off that boat. I want to see my arc. Well, I definitely want to see that one. That's a gorgeous one. But what about these little guys we just changed? Yeah, look at that. So if any Japanese subs try to get down here through the strait, maybe we'll spot them. Not expecting that to happen, actually. Wellington's got, some industry, got some coastal defense here. We have what is this, an armored unit. The Q Alexandra's well, I guess they're calling them the mounted regiment. They're mounted, all right on top of one of these tankettes, I think. Wellington's east. Okay, these are all ticketed for Wellington. This one needs to go to combat mode. That's the first Taranaka. Combat. The 11th New Zealand Brigade. Okay, that all looks good. And then we've got some engineers here. So a lot of Kiwi a lot of units. Doesn't have a lot of assault value. We've got a base force there. Oh, I should look. Hold on. We didn't really look at the ships here. What's here? Okay, so this is doing ASW. That's fine. What are in port? Let's get these suckers moving. These don't. Yeah, we shouldn't have these just sitting here in port. They've got a decent endurance. Okay. Let's put two of these together. Let's do cargo. These two AKLs. Done. And what do we have here? Well, oh, those are U.S. ships. Huh, interesting. I guess the Atlantic should have given it away. Is the Kohala a U.S. ship? Yeah, it is. Okay. Interesting. Why don't we make their home port Auckland? And let's move them up to Auckland. Auckland should have a lot of fuel and supply. We'll load up there at Auckland, and then we'll take them up to maybe Pago Pago, since those are U.S. ships. Maybe we'll go to Pago Pago, which does need some stuff. Okay. And then we also had another one, I think the Puerto Rican. Was that another U.S. vessel? Yeah, it sure is. They're just kind of sitting here. We might as well get them going. Let's do cargo. Get the Puerto Rican. I'm gonna name this Cargo Pago. That kind of rolls off the tongue as well, right? Let's name this one Cargo Pago as well. So when it gets up to Auckland, we'll know what exactly we're doing with it. But I think I'll send both of these up to out of a home port of Auckland. I think we'll send them up to Pago Pago with some supply, maybe fuel too. Why don't we jet up to Pago Pago here really quickly and see what they're short on. Well, they're short on everything. That's not good. We should be getting some stuff out of Pearl Harbor. I know that stuff is on the way, but it's kind of shockingly low, actually. What else do we have here? We must have something under repair. What is it? The Santa Rita, which is an auxiliary ship, a tender, a miscellaneous tender. We are obviously converting that. That's why it's showing as under repair. All right, let's check out Auckland. What's here? Are we shipping anything anyplace else? We've got combat Auckland, strategic move Auckland. So let's change that. Coastal defense. Okay, these are all supposed to be here. This is the main Kiwi Air headquarters, and this is their main Army headquarters. Of course, they would be in Auckland. That makes sense. What are these task forces doing? So we have an AP here, but I don't think it really has anything to do, per se. We may keep it here just in case we need it for some reason. We have a mine sweeping stuff here. And then we have two active ships, two more APs. They don't have much of a cargo, much of a capacity to transport. We'll just keep them here for now. Wow, the moderator's all over you guys. What in the world? I will loosen that up a bit. Unless you guys are just getting crazy here on a Sunday. Britt Torrance says that was a pre-war torpedo bomber. Yeah, it looked pre-war, sure, certainly did. Weren't those the planes that sunk the Bismarck? Well, now that's an interesting piece of information. I'm gonna have to go look now. Oh, it's not, okay. Swordfish. Vickers Vincent. Huh. You guys are on top of it. Nice info down there. Okay, these APs we'll just leave here. We don't really have anything important to do with them. What's out at Gisborne? Gisborne has actually something. It's a assault strength 18. The Auckland motorized rifle regiment. Okay. I guess we want to make sure the southeastern quadrant of New Zealand is taken care of. Now, what's this French ship doing? It's coming into Auckland. Right, this is out of Tahiti. So we're going to home base it at Auckland. We'll load it up with stuff and send it back to Tahiti, which I do want to build up. We've got 20,000 supply and 38,000 fuel at Auckland. Pretty good, but I do want to take stuff out of there. Now, where was... Can't remember. Was it here that we had... No, these are all APs. It must have been Melbourne, where I had a few AKs just sitting around. Was it? Was it? Maybe not. Maybe not. These are the ones we set up for Launceston. I don't think it was Adelaide. Where were these? Oh, it was these guys. Okay, okay. Let's do this cargo NZ, and we'll dock it. We'll load. Let's do supplies the first time. I'm not going to set that on continuous supply because we may actually get fuel. Well, I don't know. Is Auckland better off for fuel than supply? I think it is. It's, yeah, it is actually. Oh, and also I did not like that. Why did it go that way? It's like sailing out and around New Zealand, strangely. Did you see that? It's like, seems like like an odd way to go into Auckland. You know, I don't know in real life whether that's how ships come into Auckland, that they prefer to come in from the east for some reason, but in this game, there's no reason to do that. So why don't we make this direct? Should take it right there, so we'll do that direct. Oh, that reminds me. Why is it doing that? You know what? It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna get my OCD all worked up over that. If they want to come into New Zealand that way and see the sights on the eastern side of New Zealand, that's fine with me. That reminds me, last time we were sending some kind of destroyer ASW ship to merge with some other ships, and as I read through the comments after the stream, somebody said, "Oh, you didn't do it as merge. It's only you only had it on follow." But now I can't remember what that was. I was going to fix it this time, and I was kind of in a hurry because I was already, an hour late for the stream, and I didn't go back and look. Gosh darn it. Well, if anybody remembers what that was from the last stream, speak now or forever hold your peace. We will just have a destroyer following a task force out here somewhere, but I just off the top of my head don't remember. Okay, before we resolve the turn, so we've gone all the way through New Zealand, let's very quickly look at Nomaya. Yeah, we've got this New Caledonia detachment out here, 27, all right. So the Free French Command is out here in the Pacific. We've got some Kiwi engineers out here. We've got these, okay, they're dropping off those Kiwi pioneers. Okay, great. We've got this Sydney to Nomaya, that's going continuous. Sydney to Nomaya continuous, that's all looks good. And then we have the Australia out here providing anti-aircraft, 348, not bad. Not bad. So the Australia's sitting out here. Now you may remember last stream, we've got some things coming down here to Comac. I say some things. We've got a task force that's bringing a base force here to Comac. So there's that. We've got a lot of stuff going on at Luganville that's now unloading. Everything looks good here. We've got a lot of fuel. Probably need more supply. We're building the airfield up. Let's just look at that. Yeah, we're building everything up. That's why we brought in the Kiwi engineers to help with that. We've got a lot of stuff coming to Nomaya. I think we have 75 planes coming to Nomaya that are out in a task force that came off the U.S. West Coast. Let's look at Nadi. Not anything to do there, I don't think. Suva, we've got obviously naval search, given the length of the radii there. This is also naval search, and we've got one training. No reason to train an average experience of 64, so let's get ASW going with that. Take that off train. Let's go up to 50. Let's set the range. Altitude 5,000, that's fine. I think we can go, there's only 2 of these. All right. Let's see how that looks. Hey, look at that. Look at that little ASW going on. That looks fun. Suva, combat, Suva. All right, that all looks good. Again, these are all New Zealanders that are up here at Suva now. There will be a lot of American forces that end up here. They're already on their way. I will look at Pago really quickly. I don't like that supply situation. Before we resolve next turn, we'll get even more things going to Pago. I know that I've got some task forces going there, but it seems that they really haven't arrived yet. We've got some ASW, no ships in port. Okay, I think this is all good. I think we can resolve the turn now. Suva ASW of 270 instead of 360. Yeah, that could be true. Let's go back here for a second. Suva, it's not flying very far, that's for sure. 340. Okay, you know what? I'll just take your recommendation. Oh, this is naval search. Of course, now I've screwed up my what looked like a beautiful naval search pattern. Ah, there we go. It still looks the same. I guess it was these guys doing ASW. But I'll take your recommendation. Let's crank that down to 270 with only 2 planes. We kind of have to do like 270 to 290. Yeah, that makes sense to me. We'll have it run straight west because the subs wouldn't be up here. You're right about that. If anything, maybe we even would want to put it this way. If I was running sub operations for the Japanese, I'd probably just, do ring around the rosy, this Konduva Island. But that looks good. All right, let's save the game. Look at all these saves. Let's play. I guess I can just save it on over the old one there. Let's play 1218. And we're going to be moving on to December 19th. Wow, we're really flying now. But gosh, I love that this game models day by day. How crazy is that? Yeah, let's go get centered over Pearl Harbor. Not that it matters. Hopefully we'll get this Japanese sub out of here this time. Just seeing it on the map gives me anxiety. Let's end the orders phase and see what happens. Last few turns have been a little quiet. Castanar, what's going on? Thanks, Brett Torrent, for stopping by. Hans, thank you for the Suva recommendation. I'm going to take your advice. As you saw, yeah, I'm still in 1941, Castanar. We got a long ways to go. Routine air operations being performed, setting cap over objectives, withdrawing depleted air units. Planning major raids, that always, that's a fun one. Yeah, last time we started to get a lot of air action over Rangoon. I expect that to continue this time. Once the Japanese start hitting Rangoon, it's happens over and over and over. We've seen that at places like Georgetown. Once the AI gets really locked in on a location and decides it's going to start bombing there, it won't stop until there's rubble. I hope I've got the combat. I should have combat reports on. Last time I didn't, and it started to fly a little away from me. I was like, oh, what button is that? I couldn't remember what the hotkey is to make sure combat reports come up. Well, Castanar, that's why you're tuning in here. Maybe I can inspire you to get a real grand campaign going on. You know, once you get past the first, we're what, 11 days in, once you've got everything set up and then a lot of the stuff gets to where it's supposed to go, it doesn't move a whole lot. You've only got a few areas of operations where there's active things going on early in the war, and you know, the main things are getting things out to Pearl Harbor, making sure all your little islands that go in the chain from Pearl Harbor around Australia get supplied correctly. Um, but you know, it becomes a lot less burdensome once you get like through the first 10 days of the war. That's kind of where we are now, where I can just flip around to bases and say, hey, what's this doing? What's that doing? We don't have to go down through 4,000 units. Hey, good, I do have combat reports on. Submarine attack near Iba. This was a Japanese ship, the AK I'm not even going to say that one. Something Maru. Asa Hassan, maybe? I'm bad enough in English where I'm not going to start saying Japanese words. The Sari was out here, SS Sari. So we launched two torpedoes, nothing happened. That was a miss. Here we go. So we got our ASW here to get sighted the SSI 169, the Japanese sub. You can read through this whole thing when you play the game. Basically, it's you know, once it acquires it, you see. Actually, we got attacked first. The I-169 attacked us. The Schley then failed to find it, and it was diving deep, etc., etc. You can read through all those. But we do, now we have contact with that, all of our destroyers will come to it like a beehive, you know, like a swarm. All right, here comes the bombing. Night attack on Manila. Now, we are running no night missions from our Air Force, which I definitely encourage you to do the same when you set up your cap and whatnot. Early on in the game, as the Allies do not run night missions, you will just get blown out of the sky. The Japanese have much better night stats. I mean, they have better stats overall, but essentially they have, you know, it's like double at night. So, yep, the setup's overwhelming. The spreadsheet definitely helps. That's why I used it this time, just so people were aware of it. Sub attack near Lahue. Okay, it's attacking two destroyers, so that's fine with me. We may, well, nothing happened, but it gives us a nice shot to maybe knock out a Japanese sub. I've talked about this before. The Japanese have a lack of submarines, and so for every one you take out, it would be equivalent to them taking out like 5 of our submarines, because the Japanese don't have a whole lot to start with, and they don't replace like we do on the Allied side. On the Allied side, you know, we're going to get 10, 15 submarines quite often in a month or two, so you know, the losses aren't as big a deal. Sub attack. This is us, the Sea Dragon, going after the Zenyo Maru. Nothing. We've launched 4 torpedoes with no luck. This is a Dutch sub. So a Dutch sub got off a shot, or did they? Yeah, two torpedoes, no hits. Having some bad luck here. We've launched about 10 torpedoes with no hits. Ah, crap. Well, that sucks. Japanese sub SSI-121, our ship, the AS Canopus, which is a submarine tender. It's a ship that we have that can reload submarines with torpedoes, also do some limited repair at bases where we don't have the capabilities to do that. I was trying to get that down to Darwin. It's now been hit. It may very well sink. Well, that's too bad. The Canopus is a good ship to have at Darwin because it can help reload, rearm subs down there. But maybe it won't sink. We'll see, but that's too bad. All right, here comes the bombing at Rangoon. Or at least we're observing it. Observing the planes coming in. Yeah, okay. They maybe called off the attack. We've got a ton of cap up and over Rangoon and in the area of Rangoon. So maybe they turned around. Wow, we're snooping a lot of stuff here by Moresby. So evidently the Japanese are getting ready to bomb Moresby. Japanese plane out near Suva. Huh. We've got 10 Japanese ships near Christmas Island? What? That can't... Is that true? God, that would be something. That would make this game go to a whole nother level if the main Japanese task force is out by Christmas Island. But a lot of these reports can be wrong. But 10 ships, I don't know. Now they're sighting ships off of San Luis Obispo, off the coast of California. All right, 25 Bettys coming in at Rabaul. This is what I said before, or during the turn this time. The Japanese hit Rabaul last time. They're coming with an invasion force. They messed up the airbase. They really messed up the runway. 24 hits. Luckily, we got out of Rabaul what we wanted to. So we took the one ground unit out. Okay, 22 zeros, 16 Bettys, 8 Nates coming in hard on Clark Field. We damaged 2 of the Bettys. We lost no planes, and they had we had 6 casualties on the ground. They did hit the port, but they only got one hit on the fuel at the port. More zeros and Bettys in at Clark Field, and we'll just see this over and over. Port hits 3, port fuel hits 3, port supply hits 3. Clark Field will not have much of a port left soon. Now I'm really interested. We spotted a lot of Japanese ships this time, but kind of all over the place. I mean, are there 6 Japanese ships off the coast of California? I doubt it, but it'd be kind of fun if there were. We've got some Nates and Sonias coming in. Nothing really happening there. Blinking Duck says they did come after Canton Island. They often come after. Yeah. But Christmas, that would really be something. I'm not against it. That would spice this thing up to like a level 11 if they start really coming after us aggressively. I was kind of hoping they'd be a little more aggressive as is. I mean, I feel like the Japanese AI has been more docile than it has been in a long, or in any game I've played in a while. Not a whole lot. They still haven't bombed Rangoon this turn. I think they still will, but it's not the massive operation I thought it would be. Hey, there's the Repulse and the Prince of Wales that somehow ended up that far west. That may have been a bad command from the Admiral. Zeros and Vowels, they're coming in on Kansin here in China, or Kansan. Now they're hitting Manila. They hit the airbase, okay. I'm also surprised we're not getting more land action in China. Second Chinese base force is getting hit by some bombing. Georgetown, of course, is getting hit. It gets hit every turn. We did get some We did get one buffalo up. All right. So they brought 15 Anns, 21 Oscars. We didn't get anything done, and they destroyed the one buffalo we did get up in the air. Okay. Well, no biggie there. Those planes were not going to last. The Tojo and the Sonia's coming in here. Coming in at 15,000 feet. Pretty high for bombers, really. We got 25 Buffaloes up in the air here at Singapore. So 17 Sallies, 9 Oscars bombing Singapore. We got 25 Buffaloes up in the air. 2 Sallies damaged, 1 Oscar destroyed. We lost no planes. Very nice. Oh, they were coming after these APs that we've sent up here to Singapore to get some stuff out. But we got the cap over the top. So that's good. They didn't sink any of the ships. All right, we got one Warhawk up here at Baton. We lost nothing. They were coming after the AM bit turn. That's fine with me. If they want to try to bomb minesweepers, okay, that's fine. They're hard to hit because they're small, and it's just a waste. Scenario 2, Blinking Duck, yeah. That's the grand scenario as well. I can't remember what the twist on scenario 2 is. Sonia's coming in. Where are we here? Oh, 63rd Chinese. Okay. So they're doing some ground unit bombing this time. Another one, 44th Chinese Corps. They're trying to soften up some of our Chinese land units. They're hitting Tavoy. We did damage 2 of their planes, which is impressive because I don't think we have anything there. They're hitting Tavoy again. We're not even defending Tavoy. So, okay, go for it. Lots of sightings this time, but not nearly the amount of bombing as I would have suspected. Now we have put a hurting on their bombers. Okay, now we're transporting some stuff about with our transport planes, moving things. Oh yeah, that's where we're taking the supply. Oh, nice. Okay, ASW attack. The Alwyn against the Japanese sub, the I-169. Didn't get anything, didn't get it, but at least we're on top of that ASW in and around Pearl Harbor. We acquired that same sub 3 different times this turn, so that's good. That's good. We'll get it eventually. Land move attack phase. We're not going to watch all the marching. We'll just let the game do that. Kind of escape through that. Okay, now we got some ground combat near Hainan. The attacking force. It was a Japanese shock attack with 600. After going through the whole algorithm, their attack value was a 27. Our defense value was a 50. Then they adjusted it for all of that stuff. They ended up getting 2-to-1 odds against us, mainly because the modifiers, combat modifiers, op mode, that's our fault. That means it's in move mode, was a negative. Our leaders are a negative. Our morale is a negative, and our and our experience is a negative. Other than that, the army looked good. The attackers brought in a shock attack. Their leaders are better. They got a plus and a minus from their leaders. Japanese took 5 casualties. We took 447, and we're retreating. Okay, well, we got to make sure that gets moved over into combat mode. Japanese bombardment attack. All right, they're just lofting some artillery our way. This is at Victoria Point. The Japanese are deliberately attacking them 21-to-1. They captured Victoria Point. No surprise there. Bombardment attack at Hawaiian. Okay. Oh, they're trying at Wake Island again. They've got a few more men out there. They actually got better than 2-1 odds. Is that going to take Wake? No. No, it doesn't. Now we're bombarding them. Take that. I love the counterattack by my general out there. Or it's probably not a general. All right, now we're expanding our fortifications. No need to watch all that. Moving oil and resources. I'm going to have to figure out what Chinese unit that was out there that was in move mode. I thought we changed all those over. It could have been, well, I don't know. I'll just have to go look. I don't want to speculate on such important topics. And there we go. We center back over Pearl Harbor. You see all of our destroyers here around that I-169 sub. They're well aware he is in the area. December 19th, 1941. And this week, we will play another turn. Hopefully, I'm going to get to the point here, I think at the end of 1941, where we'll try to do a turn every 2 episodes, or I'll start making them 2-hour episodes or something, so we continue to speed along here. Now, early on, I like doing the week for a turn, but you know, at some point we got to get moving if we're going to get this war done before we're all old and gray. And even if we do get moving, we might be all old and gray, but that's all right. I love the game. Hopefully you enjoy watching it. The numbers keep growing every time. I'm glad to see it. I love the live streams, love to interact with you guys and have a little back and forth. You guys always teach me something, whether historical or just about how to pronounce various things in the Commonwealth. The old Commonwealth, I should say. So anyway, thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. This is Strategy Gaming Dojo. I'll talk to you next time.